doing a podcast. So, true crime.
Yes.
Yes.
True crime. All right, Sarah. So today, let's just jump into it. Let's just start. We don't need an intro. We don't need anything. We're just gonna go for it. So we're talking true crime today. Sarah, have you ever murdered anyone? That's my question.
Is that our icebreaker?
Started off hot.
Define murder.
Yeah. Well,
What constitutes? I mean, no. I mean, thought about murdering. Honestly, I would rather someone live with some torture, you know, coming at them than just straight up die quickly. But I feel
oh,
like, is anyone listening to this?
probably not.
I
Hey,
mean,
we have like 4
I mean,
subscribers.
I would never kill someone.
No.
So let's get that soundbite out there.
No.
I would never even think of killing or hurting
Of
anyone.
course not. No.
Yeah.
It is interesting though. I heard this. I was listening to another much more well-known podcast than ours, and they were talking about. It was just these comedians talking, but they were talking about like the perfect crime, and I was like, okay, I'm interested. Tell me more. And they went into it basically like they had this. I don't know if it's like an investigator, police officer, someone come in, and they said, "All right, we're gonna try to come up with like what we think is the perfect crime, and we're gonna test you, and you tell us like where our missteps are." And so the guy goes, "All right, so me and my buddy," and the guy goes, "You can stop right there. When you involve anyone else, game over. It's no longer the perfect crime because they're gonna rat you out, they're gonna flip on you, they're gonna
Oh,
yeah." So he said, as soon as
whoa.
he didn't even get a sentence out. He's like, my buddy and I, and he's like, you're done. Forget it.
I mean, that's probably a good thing that he
Yeah.
lost at that game.
I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how I feel about us giving like true crime tips. I don't
Tips.
want to be held responsible, but I did hear that if you really want to like get it, like you can't know the person, you can't like there can be has to be no connection. Or and here's the thing, like in the world that we live on, in there too many cameras, too many, you're not going to get away with it. So we can
That's
we can
kind of
put
how I
that
feel.
we can put that to rest. But why do you think we're like so many people are obsessed with like the true crime phenomenon?
Well, I did Google this because
Yeah.
I was curious. Um, and the internet, which is so reliable, says that consuming content about crime may provide us with a feeling of control and knowledge about an inherently uncertain and often anxiety-provoking world. Um,
Whoa.
and I think even in some ways, because I was thinking like in real life, even like sometimes gossiping can give us that same feeling, or hearing about other people's lives.
Yeah.
Um, I hear a lot about that in the workplace, but it almost like soothes the person, like, well, our team isn't, doing that, or that's not happening to us. And so on a much grander scale, maybe crime provides like a sense of relief and like, oh, like,
Yeah.
if you can kind of understand or be aware that like that's out there and happening, we can kind of stay a little bit more vigilant, which in a weird way relaxes us.
Whoa. You just blew my mind. For real.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's a newer phenomenon though. Although even like back when newspapers were like the only form of media back in like the early 1900s, late 1800s. I mean, before like TV and radio, crime was sensationalized even back then.
Yeah.
So there was something in it that people wanted.
Yeah. I even remember as a kid. Now, I read somewhere that I may be outing myself as a bit of a psychopath. I'm not really sure. Kind of concerning, or maybe a serial killer. That's what Maddie says. Because when you have this like obsession with death, and that sounds really bad, but even as a kid, like when I was 5, 6 years old. I remember my parents. But have you seen those like encyclopedias? You have like A, B, C. It goes all the way. It's like the story of the world and they alphabetize these books. And I remember like I wore out like the J and the K book because it was John F. Kennedy, and I was like reading about like his assassination. And it sounds so bad, but I was like as a little kid like totally obsessed with that. Isn't that
Yeah.
weird?
I mean, as you're talking, it kind of makes sense because if death is literally, I mean, it's the opposite of life, and if we're consumed with not dying, which, I mean, who's trying to die unless you're suicidal, but that's like something else.
Yeah.
I mean, even suicidal people, I think they're really not trying to die, they're trying to escape. But like if you're consumed with trying to live and stay alive, which we all are, I mean, I'm trying to not just get a paper cut, much less be murdered. So, like, of course, you subconsciously are trying to find a way to like protect yourself. So having knowledge about how did they die, how did that happen, like totally makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I was always
Yeah.
worried about as a kid because it was like I was totally into like Abraham Lincoln. I'm like, well, he got murdered, and
Yeah.
John F.
Like
Kennedy, he got
so.
murdered. So it's like, what's my deal? And then the Tiger King came out, and it was game over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, did you get into
Totally.
Tiger King?
I mean, yes, I have forgotten most of it though. I was like, Tiger Woods?
That was like forever ago.
Forgot.
Like that's so
You know,
2020.
I just have to like tell a story real quick and then we'll get back into this because I'm sure you have much better stories about true crime. You're like an aficionado, which I don't
Well,
know if that's a good thing or a bad
I don't
thing,
think that says anything good about me. But yeah, what's your story?
but just side note, I'm all like, before this where I was all um like the kids are trying to bust into the room and I'm like, I'm doing a podcast. Be all professional and then like come back to it. It was so funny because I was on this meeting, like remote Zoom call with this HR person at my work, and she's like very professional. And then I think she forgot to mute herself, and she goes, "Hold on a second, my son is calling,"
Hmm.
and her son is like 15. And I think she totally thought she was muted, and she goes, "Hello," and I just hear her talking, and she's just like, "Why are you in school? Blah 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 blah. Get back on." And she's all like, "Hey, sorry about that."
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I was just like, I didn't even know where to look because I'm still like on the screen, like,
Hmm.
oh, she
Well,
is not muted. And I was like, doo doo doo. I was like taking a drink of water, like, I'm not listening, but I was totally listening. But it
yeah, don't mind
was
me.
just funny.
That's like
Yeah.
the old Southern ladies, when they like yelling at their kids, like, "Get sit down! We're trying to." And the
Right.
phone rings.
Yeah.
The phone rings. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm great. How are you? Hang
That's
up.
how I
Sit
felt.
back down.
Man, I'm doing a podcast. So, true crime. Yes.
Yes. True crime. Look out, children. Mama's doing a podcast. She's gonna kill somebody. Yeah. I
Yeah,
I
so
think.
like, yeah, has this infringed on your everyday life? Like, tell me about
Well, not
it.
maybe not everyday life, but definitely.
Okay,
It.
wait. Side note,
Yes.
I just thought of a way to get really big.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Through like our podcast, like one of us has to do something really
Yeah.
bad, and then it turns into like a
Yeah. For
true
real.
crime
Well.
podcast. We'll have the
Yeah.
inside beats.
I don't. That could definitely work. I don't know if it's a
I
great
could like
idea.
one of us could like run into onto the Super Bowl field.
Yes, we could totally do that. I,
Anyways, we'll think about it. More to come. Stay tuned.
yes, we should. Yeah, we'll have to do an update. We'll
That's
do
been
an
done. Yeah,
we'll
I
do
feel like that's not very creative.
Yeah, we'll do an update. For me, I don't know that this is everyday life, but I definitely kind of get sucked in pretty easily. Like the Gabby
Oh, I
murder
know. Yeah.
back in the day, back in the day.
Boy.
Edit, cut. But yeah, the that whole thing, and it's kind of funny because Melinda, she really gets kind of sucked into him a little bit too. I'm kind of outing her here. And it's like, I don't know about it. And then all of a sudden she's like, hey, did you hear about this thing? And I'm like, no, I haven't heard about it. And then it's like, she gives me like the rundown of like, well, this person got like, is missing. They've been missing since Thanksgiving here. Because we have one that's happening kind of right now in Charlotte where there's
Oh,
a girl is missing and they think there's like some connections with her parents to the mob. And it's like this
oh,
whole crazy thing. But then, yeah, we watched something a couple weeks ago. It's like in the national. It's like true crime in national parks or something like that, or death in national. I don't know, but it's like they have all these like missing persons, and they go missing in these national parks because it's so huge. But then like it's some shady like pushing people off cliffs
yeah.
kind of stuff happening.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
goodness.
for real. And then,
Oh.
but to kind of eliminate some of like the heaviness of that too, we started watching Only Murders in the Building. Have you seen this? So I'm gonna
No.
recommend this one. This is on Hulu. It's a Hulu original, but
Okay.
it's Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and basically this connects for us because it's they end up hosting a podcast trying to solve this murder that's happened, and they all live in the same apartment building in New York City. And so they're trying
Oh.
to solve this murder that's happened in their building, and as they're trying to solve this, they document it and create a podcast, and it's a super fun show. So there are
Oh.
two
Oh.
seasons so far.
Huh.
We just binged it really hard for the past few weeks and finished it up. So
That's cool.
that's going to be my recommendation this week. So,
Okay.
but it's a good one. But yeah, I don't know. I think what about like in your just like work life? Like how does like true crime like fit in even into the work that you do? Or does
Um,
it? Or can you talk about that?
I I mean, okay, so the true crime genre,
Yeah,
I feel like
it's
it's
different.
more a little bit more salacious simply because
Yes.
it typically are it's like people who you wouldn't think would do it. There's some incongruency there, right? And so the
Mm-hmm.
people I work with, you know, I'm just gonna stuck. Um, let's just say I think I work with people with really serious, heavy mental illness
Yeah.
and substance use. So that being said, they're already either under some sort of influence or
Mm-hmm.
somehow experiencing maybe delusions or other things where it's, they're already kind of in some alternate state,
Yeah.
reality. So I think where the true crime genre comes in, there is some incongruence in like, oh, I thought they were, just the girl next door, and then she turns out she killed someone,
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think mine is more like street crime or something.
Right. Well, I think the mental health thing is so interesting too because we deal
Yeah.
with some of that here in our work too. And oh,
Well, I
which
guess, oh,
no,
sorry.
you
I
go
guess I
first.
would just say going back to that, it's just the incongruency, which is really stigma, right? About
Right.
what that looks like. And mental health, you know, it can show up in so many different ways. People are better at kind of blending into society with certain diagnoses. And, anyways,
Yeah.
that's
Well, I've,
all
I've
I'll say
told
about
you part of this story, but I'm gonna
yeah.
I'm gonna jump in here and tell you kind of and our audience this
Yes.
amazing story that's happened over the past year, and that it kind of I think it kind of fits in this. It's not. Or at least I don't think it's like the murder stuff. But so about, I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, we could, yeah, go
Yeah.
for
So,
it.
so like about a year and a half ago. So again, I work at a bilingual church here in Charlotte. And so we also on our campus we had in the ministry has also like medical clinic, mental health, food pantry, all that really amazing stuff. So we ended up hiring this guy, and seems to be a great guy. Everything's going amazing. Like he's doing really well. Preaches some, does some translation. His wife ended up started working for the clinic. We found out as we got to know them that before they moved to Charlotte, they lived down in Florida, um, had lost twins. So they were expecting twins. The babies died before they were born. Super tragic, sad story. And through that, we found out because of just the even the emotional toll that took on him. He started, drinking pretty heavily, kind of had some substance abuse issues, that sort of thing. So trying to find him help, and so we're actually going to be we were going to send him down to rehab to this place, and his wife ended up expecting again, and so right around the time that he's going to rehab,
Expecting babies.
another baby, yeah. So
Expecting
got
babies. Okay. Yeah,
got
good.
pregnant again. Sorry, didn't make
Okay.
that clear. So I'm gonna try to skip this around. Um, So right around the same time that when the twins passed away, he started kind of falling into some substance abuse issues. But then, his wife got pregnant again. They're expecting another baby. But right about the time that she's going to be having this baby, he's going to end up having to go to rehab just because it had gotten to a point where it was causing some real issues. So he's going to
Yeah, it's
rehab.
hard. Yeah.
She's going to have a baby, and this whole time, like, we kind of started noticing that some of the things in their story didn't quite add up. And so we kind of start doing some digging. We find out she sends a message like the day that he goes to rehab that she was in the hospital. She delivered their next child, but the baby passed away right after it was born from this, like, some sort of traumatic event.
Like
We're still
really.
not exactly
Okay.
sure what that was. But she sends a photo though of her holding this baby that she had that was premature. But we look at this picture, and again, we're already just a tiny bit skeptical. We look at the picture and we're like, this baby is not premature, number one. Like, kind of chunky. And the lady holding her is super white, and she is not super white. She's like Puerto Rican. And so, like, a very, very quick, like, Google image search, we find this is like a stock photo of
Oh
this babe. So
no.
she sends a picture, the stock photo
What?
of a baby. Like, what in the world is going on? Like, why would you do
And
that?
she's claiming, she said, "Oh, look, I just had a baby."
Yeah. And this baby died
And it's,
too.
oh,
And,
but the
and
baby isn't dead yet.
well, this
The
picture
second
was
baby? The third?
this. I know it's very, very confusing, and I'm not saying it very clearly, but so this is the baby. She delivered the baby. Baby dies after she delivers baby, but she
Okay.
sends picture pre-death of
Oh,
fake baby. Now very, very white
okay.
baby, and we're like,
Google
what is
image baby.
happening? So then our niece goes back and she's like, I remember her sending like the ultrasound videos. We look at and I guess none of us really looked at it. It was like this video, like the baby's like sucking its thumb, like it's very like, again, very quick kind of search. It's like a YouTube video of like a
Oh
commercial.
no.
So she's like faked like this whole like pregnancy, like the whole thing. I'm like, what is happening?
Oh my gosh.
And so we like ended up like the leadership like called them out or like, hey, kind of explain what's happening here because this isn't really making a lot of sense. And
That's
I mean,
really
it
nice.
was,
A nice way of saying it.
yeah,
Explain what's happening here.
explain,
I'd be like,
tell me,
Liars!
yeah. It's like Michael Scott, talk, explain this to me like I'm five because
Yeah.
what is happening? So anyway, they were like, did they even have twin? I mean, it's like I don't think they had twins either. There's no like record of birth, no record of death. So insane. So
And
we
how, and so,
no, go ahead.
well, but the whole time for this new pregnancy and baby death,
Hmm.
she's living with her husband
Yes,
at the time?
we think.
Okay.
I mean,
And
I
so,
guess I think
and we don't
so.
know if he is aware that she was
We don't know. So
pregnant or
because
fake
he goes to
pregnant.
rehab, she has baby. So it's like so
Weird.
he
Okay.
wasn't with her when she had the baby.
Quote unquote, the baby.
Yes.
Okay.
And so like
Okay.
so then it's like is he in on it? Has he been duped? Like who knows?
Right. Right.
So again, this was like a year this was like a good year and a half ago. So then the story continues. Like just a couple months ago we find out like there's a GoFundMe out there that like this dude has like brain cancer supposedly. But when you look at
Oh,
but when you Google like the like what they said was the cancer, like it was like I'll have to find exactly what the name was, but it's like some weird skin disease. Then he supposedly dies from his cancer, like, but again, like zero record of death, zero record of any of this. Like you can't find like death record.
I'm
There's no
sorry.
funeral home,
Wait,
nothing.
I'm sorry, her baby dies, her fake pregnancy baby, and
Yes,
then her husband, who used to work for your church, dies, quote unquote.
quote unquote
I mean,
dies. I
that's
don't,
what they're saying. He died.
that's the
Okay.
story.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So he used to be so the memorial service is in New York where he used to work a long time ago. Nothing in Florida, and like there's no body. There's an urn. Like I'm telling you,
What?
either here's my theory. He didn't know any of this and he got murdered or he's alive.
Oh,
Like
oh my gosh.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Wait. Okay,
So
but how? Sorry. Okay? Is your theory? Do you think he got murdered before the GoFundMe? Because if there was a GoFundMe out for a fake disease of mine and I wasn't in on it, I would be like, what is happening? Because
yeah,
I'm assuming people would have reached out to him. So he would have
yes,
had to been murdered before that or in on it,
yeah.
right?
Good point. Good point. Good point. So maybe not murdered then. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say not
He
murdered.
could have been so he was alive during the GoFundMe.
Yes, I think so. I don't know. I don't know. It
Weird.
all could
Wow.
be because I mean it was like we saw it and it had already been updated that he had died from his. So it was like initially set up like he has this disease. We need to because he's been in the hospital so much. His wife's been by his side 24/7, and that was definitely included. So it's crazy.
Okay, how much has this GoFundMe raised?
It was like
Like,
13 grand.
oh, that'd
Yeah.
be funny if you're like, oh, like $20.
20, but no, it's
I
like,
mean, okay. Also, how can someone have that many like solid friends who would come out to support you? I don't know if I would.
yeah,
I don't feel like I would
I
get
don't
that.
know. Yeah. No,
No.
I would get like $40, maybe.
Yeah, no, maybe.
Maybe
For me,
40.
you would get way more than me.
No,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. We just have to come up with a good enough disease, like make it sound more
Yeah,
rare, Daniel.
yeah.
Wow. What
Isn't
the
that
heck?
wild though?
Have you reached out to them and like talked to them since then?
No, no.
Wow. I wondered. And everyone on the GoFundMe, were there comments like, Oh,
Yeah.
no.
But like, so then anything that you would find about like his death connects back to the GoFundMe. So like where he went to school, like he went to seminary. And so it's like they posted a statement saying, our condolences to the family of this person. But we just saw on their GoFundMe that he passed away. So it's like there's
Oh,
no like connection. It's all goes back to that. And so like you can't find anything else anywhere. So here's the thing. If this podcast is really going to take off, this is the story we got to investigate.
how do we do that?
I don't know. Maybe someone out there listening
Ooh.
can help us. I don't know. But
We,
it's
I,
pretty interesting. A little sleazy.
that is interesting. Yeah. Well, now I just want to go over there and like bump into her and see if her husband is alive
Yeah.
and then get to know
Just
them.
take a quick trip down to
That
Florida.
is
Yeah.
intense. How
Yeah.
do they think they must be planning on like, I mean, I don't even want to bump in from like someone from high school at like my local store. How would I keep from bumping into like people who thought I was dead?
Right? But I don't
That
know.
is
I
wild.
don't know. But it is quite a fascinating tale. And if anything else comes up,
Wait,
I'll be sure to update you.
okay. So I know it's a crime to ask for money for GoFundMe, or like people have gotten in trouble
Yeah.
um for saying fake stuff or whatever,
Right.
but like beyond that, like is there anything, I mean just lying about someone's death without asking for money? Is that,
I
I
don't
don't
know. I'm not really
think
sure
that's
about that. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, huh.
Crazy
Because
town.
wow, yeah. I don't even know where to start with that. That is,
Yeah.
I'm
Just
more blown away.
take it in.
I'm like, wow, that's a lot of people like you.
Yeah.
Like clearly they're pretty I mean, she's a little sloppy
Yeah. A
with the
little.
Google image stuff. Well, but like I'm just curious, all these other people have not, like, did you guys donate to the GoFundMe?
No, of course not.
Oh, I didn't
No.
know if you were trying to keep yourself safe by donating a little bit just so you're not on her radar.
Now that you
Like
mention
here's
it,
50, yeah, here's $50 so that we're not
maybe I
now.
shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't post this one. If anything happens to me, guys, you you know who it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for real. I don't think I mentioned this. Like when they left here, they went to Florida and tried to kind of go into a church and do very similar thing, like tell the story,
Yeah.
like same story, same, yeah. So it's like it's not their first rodeo.
Oh,
So
I
I don't know,
mean,
but I think we may have some more investigating to do. But so
yeah.
if you need to fill your true crime bucket, you can follow the story.
Oh,
Can you hear that?
yeah.
Now I'm getting nervous.
Let's, oh,
Someone's knocking on my door. Like, are they listening? Is the room bugged? I don't know. All
that
right.
is
Well,
funny.
hey, Sarah, stay safe out there, okay? Don't let the
All right.
murders come get you.
Oh, wait, is this the end of our,
We're gonna end this one.
okay,
I don't have anything to
great.
add. Do you have something to add to this one?
No,
Yeah, me neither. I'm really nervous about the
cool.
knocking though.
Are you? Are you home alone? What is that? Do you want
All right, we're gonna check and make sure it's not the murderers, and if we don't post anymore,
to?
it's been fun. Bye.
Bye!